I made a little bit of update to my avatar since last time. Let's get started then. So what I did this last time was that I basically just added a little bit of text. With this texture paints, you have the texture paint tab up here. And I would say I think it's like a little bit limited in Blender. I think a lot of people are using Substance Painter because it's a little bit more refined what you can do with it. But I still think it's like fun to play around with. But you just want to do something fast, or maybe like I'm also like a big fan of this like a little bit of like glitchy graphics. So what you can do basically is just be sure to have draw selected here, and in this texture paint tab that you can choose here, you should be sure that you have the assign texture selected, otherwise you will not see what you're drawing. And you can choose color here and radius and all this stuff, and then you can just paint whatever you want on it. It's a little bit like slow at updating, so every time you have anything that's like big, it will load. What I usually do is like I realized that if you use, for instance, smear, and you make it like super big, and then you just smear it like across a lot of like the UV surfaces. Maybe now it will. Yeah, you see, it will freeze like it is a little bit, but it can like create kind of like a nice glitch effect that I kind of like. So I've been working a lot with that. As I don't know if it actually did anything now, but maybe you can see it here on this text better. Let's see what it does. But yeah, like I said, this effect is like very slow, and it kind of like freezes your Blender for a while. So I think in general Blender is not optimized for this. We're not gonna look. Yeah, there you can see we got this little nice glitch effect. But we're not gonna look too much. Instead, I'm just gonna change it back to how it was, I think. I just added like a little bit of text with, you can use texture mask. So if you press new and then you press this button here, you get to this tab here, and you can open and you can choose whatever texture you want to have as a mask. And then when you paint, it gets painted as that mask. So it's quite neat if you want to have text or like geometric shape and you don't want to paint it out by hand. There's also like some other tools that you can use, like smear and blur and things like that. But I wasn't thinking we're gonna go into that too much now. But just so you know, it's fun to play with sometimes. What we're gonna do now and focus more on is the posing and the setup of the render. So we can see here, and if I unhide it here, I have my skeleton. And last time we rigged everything to the skeleton. And what I like to do, thank you. What I like to do, just so that I don't mess it up too much, is that when in you choose the skeleton, you go to pose mode. And here in pose mode, I usually just select everything. I go down to keying, and I make sure that I have an active key set. So if this is like empty like this, you can press on it and you can choose. I think we're just mostly gonna use location and rotation, but just to be sure, we put scale as well. And then I get, you can add just like a little keyframe, and if this is not here, we can delete it. We can just go into, let's see, here, and then start a keyframe there. So we have like a neutral default that we can always fall back on. And then I can go to frame 5, for instance. And here's where I'm gonna create my pose, so I can always go back to it. the original pose or remove the keyframes, and I will get back to the original. So I don't have like super. What you can do, either you can have this auto keying pressed, and then every time you move it, you will add a keyframe. So that could be pretty good if you don't want to like have to remember what to do all the time. Let's see what we can create. I was thinking like maybe having it a little bit of a flying kind of ethereal pose. Let's see what we can make this looks quite nice. I'll make this too much. You can also make like if you would have made with more time on the game, you don't need that for like when you can import the avatar into the game. But if you want to use it for like animations, you can put restrictions to like how much it will like bend and things like this. Yeah, I think I would put it like a little bit like this. Maybe we even do a little bit of a back bend. Like this. I don't know. Could that be cool? You can check it. Yeah, kind of looks like it's like flying or something like that. Something like this. So yeah, and you can like play around with this and like do different variations. You can also now when you have like all the keyframes there, you can see if like maybe like it looked cooler like in between or something like that. Like say maybe I did the pose too extreme, then I can just go back some keyframes, or maybe I like it like how it was. We'll just continue there. But now we say we're happy with this pose. We save it. And then we're gonna add the camera. I've been cheating a little bit here since I've already added the camera. We can delete this one and just redo it from start. But then in the layout mode here, I just press Shift. Yeah, I have to leave pose mode first. So go back to object mode and then Shift A, and then we can add a new camera. We can go to the 3D view here. And we see we got like a little camera up here. Zoom in on it. Here, for some reason, Blender likes to add it like in a weird location and position. So what I usually do is I just go in and like set everything to 0 except for this one. I'll put it 90. So now we have like good clear like, and then we can just put the angles in later. Just to get like a better overview of what I'm seeing from my camera, I go to this view, cameras, and active camera, and then I can get like here a good view of what I'm seeing. But because the normal or like the default camera that gets imported, it has like a very small focal length. I'm not like a camera person, so I don't know the science about this, but I know that like it looks better if you put it, or like it gets less warped if you put it at a higher focal length, I think. I don't know if you guys are better with cameras and know why. Like, I think like you can also look up what you usually would use for like different type of photos. Do you have like, but I think like 160 or 180 maybe would be good for what we're gonna do. And then I'm just gonna position it. I think like just the straightforward position is maybe like a little bit boring. Maybe I want to have it like a little bit from underneath and from this side. But then I can just reposition it a little bit like this. And I will put this to global so I can just pan it in sideways. Cam this in units? Yeah, I don't know either. Like in the millimeters or... Oh yeah. This is this one. Field of view. Oh, lens units, maybe. Is that the one? Oops. See? I keep getting somewhere. I think this is quite nice, but I want to have it like a little bit more zoomed out. Something like this, perhaps. And yeah. Maybe it could have been like a little bit more from underneath, I don't know. Or more from the side. Let's try it. A little bit extreme. Yeah, like that. I like that better. And it feels like it's flying in. So yeah, happy with it like that. And we have like the basic camera setup and the basic posing what we want to do. We can start by, I've cheated like a little bit, which was probably a good idea since we'll get started a little bit later. But if you go into the shader editor up here, you can choose the world. And I just set up a very basic HDR. So normally, like by default, you would just have like a normal background, but as you can see, it gets shaded very flat with just the color. So you get more depth with the HDRI and a lot of different like reflections and lighting. I just put this like very low to 0.2. You can also do, this is what it looked like in full strength, but since I want to do some additional lighting, I will put it down to 0.1 or 0.2. You can try it out and see what's best. I've also done, and this you can change, if you go to object mode here, you can see I've added a little bit of a room light on the model. This is not like necessary, you can also do this, we can try and get like a similar effect just by lightning at first. But if you want to do like this kind of, it feels more like game rim light, how it would look like in VR chat, I think. You just put a mix shader, and I just like an emission. You can change the strength on it. And for the FAC or FAC, you have a color ramp and a Fresnel. It's like what takes the information in which direction. So everything that's facing away from the camera or this side will get this other material, which is this emission material. But for now, we can just skip that one, and I will just plug this one back. And I will load. Let me see, we don't have that one instead. For this one, I think I just have like a normal material with like a lot of emission, and this is just similar but with the metallic. So yeah, let's get into lighting and maybe a little bit of a background can start with. So either you can do something like just a solid color or a backdrop. I like to do like maybe a plane, so you have something with reflections on or something like that. You can scale it up by pressing S, and I would just rotate it. Oops, I forgot that I had this one. Just turn this off. And rotate it. Is it this way? 90 degrees? Yes. And put it behind. let's see, put a material on it. I think like that could maybe be cool. And I'm also gonna put on a subsurface subdivision, sorry. I'll put it pretty high. I can scale it up like a bit more. Maybe add this place. And I'll put on a texture. I'll press here on the show texture, and you can choose any like procedural textures. So just to get something that's happening. Quite small. Go back here. Put down the string. Also gonna shade it smooth, I think. Like that. It's like a warped sky kind of thing. Yeah, something like that. You can play around with this more, or like add more subdivisions to add more details if you want, and make it different. Like that. I think it was better when it was like a little bit lighter. Let's go with this one. It's perfect. Let's say it's perfect. Yeah, I think it was like fitting like the glitchy vibes of the avatar. But I think it's a little bit too bright. Maybe we'll turn it down a bit. Or, yeah, let's turn it down a bit for now, and then we'll do some lighting to get the avatar to pop. So let's go to 3D viewport. And here you have the cool background and your avatar. If you press Shift A, you can add some light. And I think we're gonna add area lights. So we'll start by putting one on this side. We call like a, oh my dog in the background. There's like a lot of this like classic 3-point lighting. You can also play around it, whatever you like or what feels good for you. You can go in here and make it like a little bit brighter. You see, we'll get some nice. And also, like, what's good to know is like lightning look a little bit different in EV and in cycles. So it's good to decide, like, before you start doing the lightning, which one you're gonna use. So, for instance, if I change the cycles, you'll get a little bit of a different feeling to it all. I think it looks like a little bit more refined, so maybe I will go with this one. To get a nice side light, I'm gonna add another one as well. Actually, I'm gonna put Eevee for now while I do the main block out, and then you can do. So I will press Shift D, which will replicate this one, and this one I will. Make a little bit bigger, and I will put it back. It's kind of like a backlight-ish. So you see, now we get like this rim light effect as well that we kind of faked before with the material. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. You can scale it up and make it like even bigger. So the bigger you make it, the softer light and shadows you will have, and the smaller, the more sharp they will become. So maybe quite like a soft light like this is nice. You can also go in here to change strength and color. Say I want to have like maybe an orange background because the background is kind of orange now. And you can just even like color pick from the background and make them want it to be like a little bit brighter so that it pops more. I'll take like the same nuance but pop it like that. Yet maybe a little bit less saturated. Like that, I think. Yes, it's like really floating through the glitch universe. And yeah, and also like you see how like the light change whatever you put it. If you want it from right behind or above, or but I kind of like the backlight to be from almost straight behind the model. And what can be good also to like draw more. We already have like a good focus point here, but get even more focus on the face. You can also put like another light specifically for that one. So I'll duplicate this one. Now we're gonna put it closer to the face and directly directed at the face. It's easier to move them around. Something like this. So this one you maybe wanna have even like smaller. We can put it like a little bit less stronger, I think. So this you can like sit and tweak quite a lot or like for a long time until you're happy that it's finishing. Something like this. You can see like the difference. You draw more attention to the point where you want the attention to go. In this case, I think it's like the focus, like the main focus is the head of the avatar. And then what I also maybe want to add is like another colored light, like maybe to have some contrast in the image, because now it's like all very much white, orange. So a good thing to do is just to add like a what do you say? Like a counter light. Can you say that? I don't know. I don't know the proper terms for this. but from here, say side. Imagine like maybe some like reflected light from beneath or something like that. And I will add to it in a blue color, I think, just to give it some contrast. You can go really crazy or just slightly blue. I think in this case I will go with like a bit more subtle one. Like this. You can also try and like scale it up and down to see like whatever suits best. But I think this is nice, then you get some nice highlight here. Exactly like contrasted light, maybe it's you have like the typical one where you do there's like these classic ones like blue and pink. I think that's called like the bisexual lighting setup. And then You have like the classic movie poster ones. They usually do orange and like turquoise, right? I think, or um, green, bluish. But yeah, I think I am pretty happy. So you can see like if it's sometimes you get like a little bit blind what you're doing with the lighting and you're adding a lot. Yeah, green purple is a good one too. I like that one. I've also become like a big fan of like green and red. I didn't used to like it that much before, but now I think it's like very nice. So you can like check whatever you're doing here to see what you're adding and what if it's like too much or like maybe this one is like a little bit too strong, or maybe you want to have it like in a slightly colored tint to just give like more greenish. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, let's say we're pretty happy with this light setup. Then we're gonna go. So the last step, we have dragged out a little bit of a time, but we're gonna just look like a little bit at the camera settings, or the render settings. I'm sorry. So if you go to cycles, for instance, you can see how it looks like. So I think it looks pretty neat. You get like a really nice, what do you say, emission light in cycles, I think. It's very nice. You have, what I usually do is that I will put it, so the render time doesn't take too much, is that I would use the denoiser if I'm using cycles. And then maybe 128 would be fine. But it's good to use that one if you don't want to have super long render times. And also you can go to the camera settings. And what I like to do is like have a little bit of depth of field just to give it like this more cinematic feeling. So you can just press that one and then either you place an object where you want to have the focus and you pick it, or you can set it in distance in meter, but then you have to know what units you built the scene in. So what's easier is usually to pick your avatar. Maybe I will actually move the background away a little bit further so I will get it like more blurry. Oops. See? Give like a little bit bigger contrast. Should probably put this one. Something like this maybe. And see how it turns out. And we can go back to the camera, and I think I will so the lower you go on the f-stop, the shorter the depth of field is, I think. I'm gonna go see. Now you can see the background is starting to look pretty blurry. Down maybe more extreme. Something like that. I think looks pretty cool. Yeah, and then it's just render it. I think that was it. If there's not like any more questions or anything like that, we can see how long it takes to render this one. Yeah, obviously have like all the other like rendering settings like resolution and things like this as well here in the output properties and where you want to save it if you're rendering an animation or something like that. So we can just try and see, render the image, see if it's how it turns out. Oops. So it's doing something weird now. With the background. Wow. I wonder why. It must be this one, right? Oh yeah, I didn't put the same. So this is good when you're using like the subdivision and the place to have the same in viewport and render, so you don't get any surprises when you're gonna render it out. Let's see now. It should work better. Maybe some keyframe things too, right? Oh yeah, because I forgot to put the. Could it be the camera? Or is it this one? Because I remember when I was moving it around, right? Yeah. It has like the keyframe things. Let's see if we need that one. I hope I didn't put any on the camera. I did. Delete those two. It's like the third time is a charm. The more you can hear. Oh yeah, now it's working. I think it was just because I forgot to uncheck the automatic keyframes when I was moving things around. And yeah, it's gonna take some time. But yeah, that was it for me for today. You can also add like some more things in the background if you want, or like or change it around and like try different HDR or different shapes. I think maybe I would put some clouds or some atmospheric things in this one, I think, to make it fitting. Thank you so much.